Good evening and welcome back to the Menosphere, and I am your humble host, Will Martell. I just want to thank each and every person that watched my videos, taking the time out of their busy life to hopefully take something away with them when they watch. Okay, let's get started. Last week, I did a video on women's hypergamy. Then I started thinking about men doing the same thing. One name came to mind, Kevin Federline. And in case you didn't remember him, he was the ex-husband, ex-dancer, and baby's daddy to Britney Spears. But I wanted to keep this sort of in the same arena as I did last week. And then another name popped up into my head. But instead of giving you background on this particular story, I will let the late WWE Intercontinental and former women's champion, Chyna, tell you in her own words.
You still had heat and all that.
Well, it was literally pulled the rug out from underneath me because I went from this $1 billion commodity, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this business, just like on the street, nothing. And wasn't like I was making like what the guys were making. Like I had this future and I was set, I still had to work and I was still under contract and they were giving me trouble with the name and the likeness and
what was
not
the reason?
to mention just the pain of everything.
No, we'll get there. But what was the
happening.
reason they gave you that, they let you go?
They never gave me a reason.
That's some shady shit.
There was never a reason.
Your contract happened to be up, and they decided, we're not going to renew this.
There was never a reason. The last thing Vince said to me was blood was thicker than water, and that he'd be in touch with me. And then the following week, I went home. I was sitting in a Jerry's Deli eating lunch, and a fax mysteriously went to Jerry's Deli, and it was from the WWE, and they said they wouldn't be needing me anymore.
What?
But
after what you gave them.
To Jerry's Deli? How do you get a fax to Jerry's Deli?
And how did they know you were there?
Exactly.
That's creepy shit.
Well, let me ask you, you said at one point that Triple H hit you, and he said he didn't. Did you say that before or after the fax? Like, were you saying that before you left wrestling, and maybe was that one of the reasons? They're like, oh, she's stirring up too much trouble, or did you allow that to be known after?
No, I just recently let that be known because
okay.
The reality of it is that I had a great relationship with Hunter. I was in love with him very much, and near the end of the relationship, when I didn't know that they were having this year affair going on, it was troubled. It was troubled at work, and it was troubled in our personal relationship. So, I didn't know what was going on. I was just sticking by my man, But when all was said and done, when they let me go, I decided at that moment that I was in a serious situation and that the fans weren't going to know what was going on and that I couldn't go out there I wasn't capable mentally to go out there and fight. I didn't want to fight, and I knew what I was up against. So I just figured I would take the high road and just never say anything.
How did you find out that? Sorry,
that and Lou people would see that, and Lou would, allow me to make a lateral move into something else.
How'd you find out he was cheating? How'd you catch him?
I found a note, actually. Yeah, I found a note.
Like a written note?
A written note.
What did it say?
From Stephanie, from Date of the Year, tucked away in his briefcase.
What did the note say?
What was in the note?
Just a note from her saying, how much she loved him, and she was on the airplane or something, writing him a love note, and the date was dated like a year beforehand, so that's how I knew.
Now, was she wrestling
and
back
that was
then?
my only proof, because I was at that point, I was finally getting ready to say, okay, I got to leave the relationship after this incident happened, because that's kind of a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
And then, but I knew, when I was leaving, that there was just something that wasn't right, so I did the old snoop-a-doop.
Women.
Yep. And I did it good. I mean, I cleaned out the entire house and I found, the proof.
So now that you have heard Chyna's story, and perhaps some of you hearing this story for the very first time, do you think Paul Levesque, aka Triple H, was doing anything differently than Sable did when she jumped ship on Mark Merrill in the story that I told you last week. The only thing that makes these two situations different, however, is that Hunter was not married to Chyna, and unfortunately, Chyna lost her job with the company after discovering she was being cheated on by Triple H with Stephanie, the boss's daughter. Now, again, I was in the wrestling business a long time on the indie level, and I can tell you for certain that this type of behavior goes on all the time in the business. And the fact that Triple H and Stephanie were involved in an angle together, pretending to be married of all things, was a recipe for Trips to get a piece of that silver spoon peace leave. Okay, Triple H and Stephanie were wrong in this situation, clearly, but I believe a series of events could alter one's life, and it surely altered Chyna's life in many ways. She was out of the WWE, got on a reality show, got into porn, made a brief comeback to wrestle, and dated X-Pac, aka Sean Waltman. Unfortunately, on April 20th, 2016, Joni Laurer was found dead at her home in Redondo Beach, California. She was 46 years old. Trips clearly exercised hypergamy in this situation. He kissed butt in the company to get to the top. He had an affair with the boss's daughter, and he's now got a secure job for life in the WWE unless him and Stephanie part, but I doubt it. People may disagree with me on this, but this is just my opinion. And I'm entitled to it, right? Okay, if you like this video and this content, please comment, subscribe, and this is Will saying so long in the manosphere. And remember, gentlemen, every day above ground is a good day. Deuces.